Off my phone.
Hey everybody, I am Haley Gray, and tonight's Just Ask Haley, I've got two guests coming on with me, and the first one here is Lee, and then I have Nicole coming on later. So Lee, welcome. Thank you so much. And I said Nicole, and I'm like, my brain went fried. So welcome, and thank you so much for coming on with me tonight. And tell us a little bit about your business and what it is that you do.
Well, I am one of those serial entrepreneurs, even though I hate that phrase, but it's true. I own four very connected businesses that are medical transcription technology, general transcription, and then speech recognition training. But I'm also a professional speaker, and the two cross over very, very much. I give a lot of credit to my 8-figure businesses, to my speaking abilities, and to the fact that I am a professional speaker. So those are my two worlds that collide often.
That's kind of cool. I love how the different worlds find ways to work together with each other synergistically.
Yes. I think that it's important to be able to speak well and to speak articulately, if I could even say the word today, when you're growing your business, because if you can incorporate stories into when you're growing, talking to a new customer or potential customer, if you can let them know that you've been where they are and that you can do this in a way that seems very natural, I think that is one of the best ways to grow a business ever. And I have, of the businesses I have, 3 of them are 8-figure businesses and 2 are 7-figure.
Oh, wow. So what made you decide to start your own businesses?
I felt, this is actually one of my keynote speeches. It's called 5 words on a Post-it note. I worked for another woman doing medical transcription, and I saw the potential there. And I put together this big marketing plan because I was a corporate girl before this. I worked for AT&T right out of college. Through the divestiture, I was marketing and training, and I was a corporate girl. So I saw the potential there, and I put together this big marketing plan, and I sat down with her for about an hour and a half, and I told her the whole thing, and she said, this was so sweet that you did this, but I don't really want to grow my business that big. And I didn't know what to say because, like I said, I was a corporate girl. I was used to having a budget bigger than her company in my little tiny departments. And so I went home and I wrote on a Post-it note, I can do it better, and I slapped it up on the side of my computer. And I started my business the next day. So mine wasn't that I couldn't work for someone else or that I felt that burning desire. I just knew that there was more out there and that I could do it better.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's a really great reason to go into business for yourself. I can do this better.
Yes, and it worked. And so by the 5th day that I was in business, I was larger than she was.
Holy cow.
By the 5th day. So five words on a Post-it note 5 days later.
Wow. So
and then I worked for her. I still worked for her for almost a year. And she knew that I was starting my own business, and she kept saying, well, good luck to you with your little business. By the time I ended up, giving her a very long notice, and as a transcriptionist, I was already in the high 6 figures.
That's pretty amazing. So how did you get those first few clients in your business?
Straight door to door. I went in to talk to the directors of medical records at different hospitals, and I was the Kirby vacuum salesperson. I was the one that would go in there and say, let us prove it. Let me show you what we can do. We'll do 1 full day free, or we'll do 5 reports for free. Let me show you what we can do. And I was persistent, and I was first ones that ever actually knocked on their doors. Most people just sent things through the mail or called, but I was there. I was in their face. And I said, here I am. We can do this. Give us a chance. And it worked. And then your reputation comes into play. Always, like they say, under promise, over deliver. And that's true. I always made sure that we had the best turnaround times, that we had accuracy. I surrounded myself by amazing transcriptionists. And then as we built our team, I made sure that I was building from within, not from outside, at least in the beginning, to keep that reputation secure. And that's everything. Keep what you say you're going to do. Make sure you do it.
Absolutely. And I mean, that to me is the most important thing. Sometimes it's not about the most flashy business, a lot of times it's about being the most competent at what you're doing.
There is nothing sexy about medical transcription. Sexy or flashy, but it is it's a $24 billion business that people don't realize, and they don't do their research. So they really don't realize that. And it comes down to really personal customer service. I don't care how big your business is. My customers and my employees know that my door, my phone, they're always open. They can call me, they can come, they can do whatever. And I'm there. I'm going to answer everything from the smallest question to the largest question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's an important thing, is that you are there and you are ultimately responsible as the business owner. So
it's on the speaking side. It's with speaking, make sure that you're going in there and that you know what you're talking about, and that you've practiced, you're professional, you look the part, you sound the part, you act the part, and ask for the business. I think that's something that people don't do. And in all of my businesses, it's what I've learned. Ask for the business. Don't just assume that you're going to give your pitch and they're going to call you back and say, oh, you wowed me and let's do this. It's, when can we start? Or I think I'd be a great fit for your convention, and I'd love to be the keynote on the opening day. I'd love to be the keynote at the closing keynote. Ask for what you really want, because if you don't, you're going to end up with something maybe that you don't want, or you're going to end up with it not at all.
Absolutely. So the tip is ask for the business, because if you don't ask, you don't receive.
Exactly. And you can see, I can meet with people 10 times before I know that, it's time to ask for it. So also know your audience, know what they're looking for, know what their timeline is. And don't be afraid to say, I really want to work with you. What would it take?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent tip too, because, a lot of times, particularly in my industry, which is digital marketing, my job, I don't spend so much time selling people as educating people on what it is that we do and how we do it.
That's so true. I'm in all of my businesses. I educate, and then we just do it in the background.
Absolutely. So what has been the single hardest part of business for you?
Letting go of some things. I brought in a lot of friends and family when I first started, and sometimes your business outgrows your staff. And when they are friends and family, that's very, very difficult. So if I had it to do over again, and I have great family members that work for me, and I have great friends that work for me, but I don't know that I would go that route again.
Got it. Yeah, that can make sense.
And the other thing is to know your expenses. I had several people over the years that were so overpaid because I didn't know what the going salaries were. So I really hurt myself that way, saying, oh my gosh, they're so great, they deserve this much money. And the truth was I was double paying people that really didn't need it or, just deserve it. I hate to say it that way, but I really know what you're paying for, not just in terms of people, but in terms of things and technology and everything. Know what you're paying for and keep your eye on the bottom line. I was very focused on the top line for so long. We were in the Inc. 500 7 times, which is, we were only one of 4 companies that were in the Inc. 500 and 5,000 7 times consecutively. And I focused everything on the top line, not the bottom line. And that's a very, very, very painful, hard lesson to learn. And it's hard to correct.
Yeah, because you can be making the biggest top line number in the world, but you can actually be losing money.
And we were for a while.
Ouch.
Yes. And I brought in a CFO who said, you're not going to be in business in a year if you keep doing this. And we made some very drastic changes that were the best things we ever did.
What kind of changes did you have to make?
Some staffing changes. Definitely. I had a few too many. I was too top heavy. I didn't really need as many managers as I thought I needed. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing who steps up to the plate when the chips are down. It really is. So a lot of changes like that. And then little things. I know I'm throwing around numbers saying 8 figures, 7 figures and all of that. But even if you're a $100,000 business or, just making what you want to make, you have to watch the little things. I was on the phone today with AT&T and cut our bill by $300 a month.
Yeah.
So it's even little things like that. It's just really watching that bottom line and keeping your expenses under control. And something that I think took me a long time to learn is don't buy something or hire someone until you really need it or them.
Yeah. And then it's not just until you need it or them, but it's also until you desperately need it or them. Because I mean, one of the things I've run into in all of my businesses is people are very, very happy to have the newest software and to suggest this purchase or suggest that purchase, or the business needs this or the business needs that, but they don't have any idea what the bottom line actually looks like and how that is impacting the business. And adding an extra $100 here and $200 there, suddenly you've eaten all your profit.
Exactly. I've become very cheap, which sounds funny to say, but I'm learning to be very cheap. Down to even airlines. I was very, very loyal to one particular airline, regardless of price, just because I had the miles, I had the upgrades. Now,
Right.
I want the cheapest flight that's going to get me there the quickest.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's little things that add up really fast to a lot of big things. And then really take your time on what you need. We were very oversold on an accounting package, spent a couple $100,000 on it, and we're back to QuickBooks.
Yeah, I've been there, done that myself, where it's painful.
It is.
And you think I need these things in my business, and you realize that no, I don't really need them.
It becomes need or want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a difficult decision sometimes to decide which it is, but I've learned, and I've been in business 23 years. So it's been a big learning curve. It's been down, up, down, up, down with some of it. But now we're in a growth pattern again, but growing in a different way. Growing,
Yeah.
not grow. For a long time, I grew to grow.
Absolutely. So what is one thing that we can help you with Women's Entrepreneur Network?
Well, something that I'm always interested in is the connections, and I'm learning from you the connections, especially in which helps with my speaking business, growing my online group, growing my online business, and making those connections and making real connections, not just the superficial, oh, I have more followers than you have kind of connections. So mine right now is finding the people who are my target audience, the speakers out there who want to be speakers, not that they're just saying that, oh, I'm going to be a speaker, but the ones who truly want to get the tools in place that they need and to have my right audience. Is that probably the way I'm trying to say this? Not just to have the connections, but to have the right connections and the right audience. And that's what I learned from you and from the group every day.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, and that is, I think, one of the most difficult things, because it can be easy to rely on friends and family or our existing connections and not stretch outside of the box to find the right people when we already have so many people around us.
Right, because my specialty in speaking is business and healthcare. And I tend to attract a lot of people who want to speak to women entrepreneurs. Great audience, but that's not my specialty.
Right.
And so I'm more the corporate and the healthcare audience. And so those are the speakers that I'm learning to make those connections. And the Women's Entrepreneur Network, there are a lot of people in there that are in that same situation that want to speak to corporate, that want to speak to healthcare. And so, like I said, I'm learning to make the right connections. And I learn a lot from you on the personalization.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's cool. Yeah, it's been an interesting process, and for me, learning about how important those connections really are.
And stop being thin-skinned. It's easy to be thin-skinned online.
Yes, very much so. I mean, gosh, I think that, that was maybe one of my biggest challenges when I first started was, I didn't appreciate the number of connections and the depth of connections I needed to make, and how many people I was going to have to talk to in order to make the right connections, and still have to talk to keep making those connections.
And your group is just amazing. I mean, 69,000 people. Doesn't that blow your mind sometimes?
It's a bit overwhelming at times.
I could see that.
Crazy and wild and fun. And it kind of feels like herding cats some days.
But it's that way if you have 100 people or if you have 69,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely really challenging. And I mean, there's things I would love to be able to do in the group that I just can't do due to the size. Like personally messaging every single person that joins and welcoming them to the group.
Right.
When we're adding, 50 to 100 people a day, it's just not possible.
Yeah, and that number, it seems like it rolls, and when it rolls faster. So one of the things that I'm looking right now to get out of the group is challenges, to start being able to run a challenge and to do so successfully. So I've been watching people that are doing their own and being a lurker, but really, what is a good challenge? And especially in the speaking world, what would be a great challenge? So that's really where my focus has been lately and what I've been looking for, the connections, and then what I can do with those connections to make them stronger, not just to sell to somebody, but to have that true connection.
Yeah. And that's important too, is, finding that piece that attracts the right audience, that gets the right people in, that you can connect to build your business, whether it's having them hire you or to network and connect with, how that dovetails into the rest of your business.
Right, because I know I can sell to somebody. I can sell anybody anything. I was born that way. But it's having those right people so that when I'm training a group of speakers on, everything they need to grow their speaking business or to be a little bit better on stage, that I'm with the right people there and that I didn't just sell them something. They need to know that that connection is true and that I'm going to be there for them afterwards as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's important, is that it's not just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Right. And that once and done, I'm just not that. I'm not selling widgets. I'm selling lifestyles.
That's a good point. Yeah, you are,
So that's what I'm getting out of the group right now and where my questions lie. And you'll be seeing me asking some challenge questions.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually doing the Build Your Tribe Challenge again in October.
Okay.
So great. I don't know if you've come across that challenge yet.
I have, but I'll be in the
Facebook group. Yep. And on the back end of it is actually teaching people how to do challenges to fill their groups.
Oh, great. Okay. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because I think that challenges are one of the most tried and true and powerful ways to get people of a particular affinity into a group so that they are together.
Absolutely. And I enjoy any challenge that I do. So I see a lot of them in healthcare, health and fitness, especially. We see a lot of challenges or growing a group. And I'm really just interested in what would fit my tribe. So I can't wait for yours.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again. And, delivering some content that I hope helps people and, hopefully helps them grow their groups. So are there any other ways that we can help you here with the group?
Not that I can think of right now. I think I'm just so focused on those two things, the connections and the challenges, that's where my focus lies right now. I said I was a born salesperson. I was also born with ADD. So if I don't focus, nothing gets done.
That's true of all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think entrepreneurs are kind of that way, where we
have to be. And it's great because it seems like we can multitask, but my multitask level right now is 2.
I like it. Yeah, mine is about 1.
There you go. Mine are connected though.
That's smart. Yeah. Mine are pretty, drop into low gear and focus on one thing at a time.
Definitely. And you're great at it. So
thank you.
Not just pumping you up there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm focusing on the summit right now. So the summit that happens next week is all of my energy at the moment.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's something but that's a double focus as well. You're still doing everything else and focusing on the summit. So you're focusing on filling it and focusing on doing it.
Absolutely. Yes, that's true.
So you've got the dual is going as well. But the people that can do 10 things at once, I bow to them. I can't do it.
I used to do more of that, but I found even then that I was not as effective doing overly multitasking kind of things. It
Absolutely
does not work well.
Same here. We're very much alike in that. But there's not enough Ritalin or Adderall in the world to have me do 10 things at once anymore.
No, there's not enough caffeine in the world.
Not at all.
No. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. How would somebody get in touch with you or find you?
Well, I have my group, which is the Speaker Collaborative, and it is an open group. And then I also am at leetkachuk.com. My last name is down here in the corner. It's impossible to spell or pronounce unless I tell you, but my email is lee@leetkachuk.com. And those are probably the two best ways.
There we go. I am going to put that into the thing here. So you'll find the group, the Speaker Collaborative, and Lee at
lee@tkachuk.com.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too. And I'm going to try to gracefully switch people through this time, and hopefully I don't cut anybody off. So I'm going to welcome Nicole up. Thank you, Lee, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Now you have to find out how to turn me off, though.
You off. There you go.
Hi, Haley.
Hey, Nicole. How's it going?
Good job switching. It's always so hard.
I always wonder about, like, am I going to, like, accidentally knock everybody off the air and do that?
Yeah, I have the same problems. Me and tech, we don't always get along.
You know, which is really funny because I've been in tech for 25 years and I have a computer science degree and I've been a computer programmer. And I think that that's one of the more funny things is that I tend to break tech really effectively.
Well, you know, I think energetically, sometimes bigger energy people just kind of shut down the computer world a little bit sometimes.
Yep. I used to regularly blow out, like, you know, batteries, and the light bulbs above my desk would blow out pretty often. And my husband finally looks at me and he goes, uh-huh. And he goes and he gets LED light bulbs and puts them in the chandelier above my desk so they would stop burning out.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. I do.
Yeah, kind of mortifying. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, I'm just getting started. I'm a newbie. I've been consulting for 10 years, but I just switched into the online world about 6 months ago. So yeah, it's fun. It's exciting and it's crazy. It's like a whole world that I didn't know existed. I feel a bit like it's a, you know, kind of Indian in the cupboard situation where it's like all these tiny people that I didn't know were here this whole time. It's really interesting, but I started with Facebook ads and kind of quickly got over that infatuation with the one-on-one client situations and stepped into coaching, which was kind of combining my existing skill set of consulting with my new digital marketing world. And I really specialize in helping people get the right clients for them. Using social media strategies, I take a lot of experts that are really great at what they do, belly to belly, and bring them into the online world and help them to scale their businesses more effectively.
That's cool. So what kind of businesses do you tend to work with?
I work with a lot of online coaches, and I work with a lot of people that are experts in their field. I actually got started in this because of my mom. My mom is a high-level Tantra expert, and she's been obviously doing things face-to-face for a very long time. And with all this COVID stuff, she needed to be able to transition into the online world. So I really kind of stepped into that realm because of her to help her to develop online courses. So since then, I've been working with a lot of people that are just experts in their own world and ready to expand that. And it's interesting. It's interesting because the online world is crazy and it is different. And to be able to usher them into that kind of era and help people build their legacies is really rewarding.
That's cool. Yeah. So what kinds of things do you do to help people get into the online world and usher in that legacy?
Well, at first, I really thought that my target demographic was going to be a little bit younger. I thought I was going to be in that 22 to 30 range just because I'm 35. And I thought that that's kind of how expertise works, right? Is that you help the younger echelon of people to kind of get in there. Well, it turns out that younger echelon's pretty damn techie, right? They have it on lock. They're doing a really good job with it. But a lot of people who are amazing professionals face to face don't have a lot of experience in social media. And even if they are using social media, they're very much using it for their personal use rather than professional use. And so I really help them to understand attraction marketing through social media. And so my older clientele does pretty well with it, of being able to transition their existing skill set into the online world. Just takes a little love.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a bit different when you've been doing business face to face for the last 15 years, and then suddenly you're faced with this whole crazy, wild online world.
Yeah, it's a lot to learn.
It is a lot to learn.
Time, and like trying to make your business successful, but also get through the tech and also get through understanding this beast of Facebook, and don't even get us started on Instagram, right? There's so many different components, and it's a steep learning curve because it's always changing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, has anybody been stymied by the new Facebook look today?
Right? Every 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like, I think people had figured out Facebook and then suddenly their whole world just got blown up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just learning how to manage that time, right? Because when we were working face to face, it's like we go to work, we have appointments, we do the thing, and then we go home. Whereas when this is constantly in our hands, it's a different energetic field where people can literally hit you up in the middle of the night and you never have that takeaway time to recharge, to be yourself, to step away from work is a lot harder when it's in your pocket.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and that's part of why I don't bring my cell phone into the bedroom.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. No, my cell phone does not go into the bedroom with me.
Yeah, I think it's important to have those kind of barriers set up, I give my phone like a bedtime. Tuck it
Absolutely.
in, go to sleep. I like to wake up with it not in my hand,
Yeah, no. And I'm always shocked, with people where, it's like, hey, I messaged you, but I wasn't expecting an instant response at 2:00 in the morning.
Right?
Yeah. So what is one thing that we can help you with here with the Women's Entrepreneur Network?
Well, Haley, I have to tell you, you're doing it, because there's a piece, I think, for a lot of my clients where they don't understand the scalability, because it seems unfathomable to have 70,000 people in your group, right? And I think that just showcasing that it's possible, showcasing that the ceiling doesn't exist, that you really are limitless in the online world. I think that that's what these large groups really offer certainly for my clients,
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it. And I like to see the interaction in the group. I like to see, I'm sure it's exhausting. I'm sure it's exhausting for you guys, but it's really interesting to see a thread go to 1,000 comments and in a very short amount of time and see people interact like that.
Yeah, it is something else to deal with. It's a lot like herding cats.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting from a business perspective too, if you start thinking about, how does that scale in your business and how do you manage that type of interaction and how do you manage it?
Yeah, it's definitely creating systems, right? Creating systems and being able to control that time, energy, and outsourcing what you can and learning what you can't, right?
Yeah. Well, and especially in the beginning, I think people want to try to outsource far more than they should.
I agree. I think that so much of it's important for you to really understand at the fundamental level what it takes to manage a group, what it takes to build a group. Because if you immediately want to outsource that, quite honestly, you're leaving money on the table because you're not giving yourself that experience at its full level to develop things. My group just is almost at 9,000. It's a baby group for you, compared to yours, but it's also only 5 months old. So it's growing fast, and it's work. It's work to maintain it, but it's a labor of love, and you get to learn so much about it in the process.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what is the hardest thing for you about growing that whole online presence and group?
I mean, I really think it's the back line of managing the growth. It's that I have rapid growth and it happens really quickly. And then I don't know what to do with it at times, you know? I mean, I think for some of you guys that have these amazingly large groups, like that's something I'd love to see a little bit more of. Tell me what I'm supposed to do with them all. You know, I want to keep everyone happy, which is impossible. And, you know,
Right.
I also want to have a set of standards for my community that I feel aligned with. And it's difficult. It's difficult to give the people what they want, be that support system, do all of the work, and then have people that don't respect that, people that don't care about that, people that are only there to take. It's difficult because what are we supposed
And people that curse you out for basically doing your job.
endlessly, right? They're so mean. There's people that can be so mean in it. And it's interesting because you have that keyboard warrior thing that goes on. But if you're not running a sizable group, you have no idea how much work this takes and what we go through as admins to be able to manage a community that you get to come into and leverage for your business. You know, I think that showcasing, like as an admin, I'd love to take a peek at what you got going on how you're managing your systems.
Well, we've got 3 volunteer admins in the group and a couple of paid people.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How do the volunteers do?
They do great. I mean, we have a separate one admin group, and we do, you know, we have a lot of conversations about, hey, did you see this sneaky thing here? Did you see that there? Did you see that we were having a bunch of bots? Did you?
Yeah, man, those the WhatsApp ones that they can drop, that stuff is crazy. They're so fast. They're so fast. It's hard to keep up with that. And I always wonder, like, to what end? What are they getting out of this? You know, it seems nuts to me, the spammers. Like, how does that even benefit them? But
well, I think that they hope that they're going to drop enough links, enough garbage, enough stuff that it gets some sort of attention and gets them revenue or income. Clearly it's working for somebody somewhere, or they wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah, no, I know, it's insane. I'm very thankful for that little button that's like delete the last 7 days worth of posts from this person. Very grateful for that button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean, and if you don't manage to hit the delete the last 7 days of posts from this person, sometimes you have to go through and manually find the 500 posts that they dropped junk into.
That's just insane. I mean, I don't even know how you can tackle something like that.
One at a time.
One at a time. I mean, we have people that report, and that helps.
Sure.
You know, the reporting is great. But
keyword alerts are another great thing.
Oh yeah, you can put in that thing. You can put in magic spell. That's what I'm getting right now. I have a whole bunch of magic spells coming through.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's their spam drop, is like something about some magic love spell that they can do.
Oh, they can do a magic love spell to bring your ex-husband back?
Yeah.
I got that one a couple of weeks ago.
That's a good one.
Live while I was live. It was a personal favorite. 2 thumbs up, would totally do it again. And then I copied and pasted that boy and had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, Bitcoin mining, pyramid schemes, those are another thing we see a lot of.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and it must be working somewhere. So
it must be working somewhere. Yeah. And you know, and this is actually kind of an interesting challenge too, because you know, we're talking about all these things and some of you are probably like in horror. You know, when you're trying to run a legitimate business and you're doing it in this backdrop of people who are not doing things legitimately, and bots and spam and everything else, how do you get people to stand out, you know, as a real unique person when you've got all this other
it's hard. It's hard to support people in the way that we want to support them when we're so busy combating, combating the other things, the external pieces. It's difficult for us to be able to support people and help them to showcase and promote with passion and have quality self-promotion when we're drowning in a sea of spam, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges I deal with is, how do you stand out in a sea of spam, where people are, making it really difficult for you to do a group. And a lot of times people think that we're paid by Facebook to run our groups.
They think that? Are we paid by Facebook? When will that happen?
I don't know. When did you get your last paycheck from Facebook?
I'm still waiting.
Right?
Yeah, I've checked the mailbox every day. It's not here.
No, mine didn't come in either. So I wish I knew, because that's part of the challenge is you're trying to stand out in the sea of spam and inauthenticity, and then helping your clients stand out in a sea of spam.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, what I see a lot of too on top of the spam, it's like you have the spam at the bottom, right? And then you have the copycat people. And that stuff just blows my mind. I'm beside myself at that. I mean, and I think that's my naivete and just being new, right? But I constantly see like some amazing posts go out, right? Like somebody comes in and does a great post. And then like 3 days later, someone else will try and post, like literally copy and paste the same post. I'm like, this is insane. I can't believe that people do that, but it's so prevalent. I had somebody copy the like the name of my group and my whole description, I mean down to the emojis, and create the group and then invite me to it.
Awesome.
I was like, I'm not even mad. You ate the whole wheel of cheese. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. But it's really interesting to me that people think that that's going to work. I mean, it's a microcosm in there of interesting group behavior of the copycat thing.
Yeah, and I've had people copy the name of my group, all of the other stuff. They'll copy my graphics. They'll do all of that fun stuff.
It's so weird.
I'm like, okay, down to the typos. I have certain grammatical errors that I tend to make over and over again. And certain typos that when I'm typing, I kind of ignore from time to time.
Yeah.
And I die laughing when I see people literally copy my typos.
That's impressive. I mean, really, it is. I can't spell definitely. I always spell definitely wrong. So I guess that would be one that they would copy in for me.
Yeah, no, it's kind of entertaining. And then that brings up the interesting challenge of, okay, so I'm working with professionals trying to help them stand out.
Yeah. While they're all copying each other.
So what's some advice that you give people, like a nugget or two that you give people, that is obviously not, go out and go copy people?
I think that it's really hard in the online world for people to accept that it's okay to be themselves. I think that you feel this pressure of visibility, right? Where like people are going to see you. And at first, no one's going to see you. So get that out of your head. Nobody sees you for a while, so you can do whatever you want for a little while. But as people start to see you, you get to be your real self. And you don't have to, put on a face full of makeup if that's not what you do every day. You don't have to pretend to have some beach house in Malibu. You can be your real self because that's what people are interested in. People want to see the real you. That's what's captivating. Perfection is not captivating. Perfection is boring. And I think that people can just be them real selves and they don't have to copy. And you're going to be so much more successful when you decide that that's what you want to be and that's the person that you want to show up as. I know that that's the shift that happened for me. So you stop trying to please everybody else, stop trying to be everything that everybody wants you to be, and be yourself. It's one of the best ways that you can stand out because no one knew.
Right. Well, and you stop trying to be who you think other people want you to be.
Yeah.
By extension, right? So and that for me was one of the hardest shifts, is the not only stopping being, what other people wanted me to be, but also the what I thought that other people wanted me to be like. So, super professional, particular grammar, never curses, and there's certain things that I've seen people, condemn, very harshly online. And it's like, some things aren't me. I mean, and I've had people unfriend me for sharing my story about my daughter with her mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, it's hard to be who you think other people want you to be.
It's endlessly exhausting.
So how can, you know, and how do you contort yourself into that pretzel?
Well, and as soon as you decided to try and be what one person thought you wanted to be, right, you'd turn your head to the left and then you'd have to be something else, right? It's exhausting to have to be able to do that. When did that, like, how long have you been running this group? Like, when did that?
Well, I've been doing this group for 5 years. You know, it probably took me a good 6 to 9 months to get my head out of my rear end. But, you know, it's
not that long.
You know, some of us are a little more stubborn than others, but, you know, I agree with Lee. You know, you have to be yourself. You're the best at being yourself, no matter who tries to copy you. They can't do it. And I mean, it's important to be very much yourself because you can't be other people. Yeah. Everyone else is already taken.
Right? The mask doesn't really serve you. It doesn't help you to attract ideal clients, because when you're knocked out of alignment like that, trying to be something else, your energy that you're showing up with is not going to match. And when you attract people to you, they're not going to be the right fit clients. And when you don't have the right fit clients under your belt, you're really stuck in this trap of, well, one, being unhappy, right? But two, being unsuccessful. Because you're not going to really get the testimonial. You're not really going to have this amazing connection and help that person to really get great results. If you're attracting the wrong person for you, you're also doing them a disservice. So energetically, it's just a big lose all around when you're not showing up as your true self. And that really comes down to doing things about talking, not just about your business, about sharing about your daughter and what is happening with that, because we're all behind our business, real people. And that's what people know, like, and trust is real people, not logos and banners.
Yeah, and not the prettiest website or branding or photo shoot. I mean, I've seen people who have had hella expensive photo shoots done and branding photo shoots, and they don't resemble the person that, you know, was the photos were taken of, and you're laughing, right? But I've been watching this going on in the online space for probably 6 years now. You know, people have spent tens of thousands of dollars, you know, trying to show up as something other than they are, you know, with the Lamborghinis and the airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, it keeps going around and coming around. And I'm like, how is this still a thing? I mean, I thought we'd gotten beyond that. And then I'll see somebody else do it again.
I bet it's so interesting from your standpoint, because coming in with like fresh eyes into all of this just a couple months ago, I remember my first one. I remember the first time that I saw this like stunning photo, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, in some big group, I saw a stunning photo of this woman and I was like, wow, beautiful. And you can't help but comment because it's so pretty. And then I got into her group and I was like, who's this?
Who's this person? And why is this person
how do they do that?
You don't even look like the person.
Not even a little bit. And how does that work? Because immediately in my mind, I was like, oh, I don't trust you. Like, you're a liar, right? Like, isn't that immediately what you think is like that imposter thing has to come through immediately for me, where it's like, you're not even, your pictures aren't even you. Like, how, I can't even believe your picture. So how can I believe your story or your situation or what you offer or your pricing or the validity of that website that I'm going to click through when your image isn't even you?
Right. And it's not to say that you shouldn't have professionally done headshots and you shouldn't have professional pictures and you shouldn't look your best in your pictures, but don't Photoshop it out of all recognition.
But the camera doesn't add 60 pounds.
No.
We have to be somewhat realistic. And I also think that there's a measure of that for authenticity of like, this is what I really look like. This is really who I am. And to be proud of that. I mean, especially in, I don't know, professionalism, in coaching, in that kind of thing, that a lot of times people are trusting you to guide them through some process of mindset training, some process of authenticity. And if you're not doing that for yourself, you can't sell results you don't have. Yeah. And that becomes a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah. And Lisa's, exactly the same for me. Met a big online influencer who was a good 70 pounds more than our pictures are photoshopped to look like.
I mean, we all pack on the pounds.
Right. Well,
but you get to own it a little bit and be proud of who you are. I mean, that's what I definitely want in any professional that I'm spending money with. I want authenticity, and I want you to be proud of who you are and the product you produce, because if you're not proud of it, then why do I want it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've had the opposite problem because I've lost 175 pounds. So I'm literally having to do all of
175 pounds? How?
I had bariatric surgery, but it's been about a year and a half and 175 pounds down. But no, so I've had to completely redo all of my pictures, and I keep having to have new headshots done and new portraits done because I'm unrecognizable.
I think that's a good problem to have there, Haley.
But talk about people being like completely confused.
But you have to do it. You have to do the process and show who you are.
Yeah, that picture was so 150 pounds ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just dying laughing about somebody put on. And so, no, it's not photoshopped. I wish the old photos were photoshopped, but they're not. But I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you get to do the photos and you get to do the things, but it still should be you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Not somebody who's not you. So anywho, how does somebody get in touch with you, Nicole?
Well, I have my group, Client Attraction Secrets for Wonder Women. And you can hit me up on my little landing page going there, attractgoldilocksclients.com.
That's cute.
I like to buy up the domains just for fun. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I like them.
Attract
GoldilocksClients.com.
That's cute. Let me grab that, and I can also post it in the Facebook group because StreamYard doesn't actually allow you to post to the group at the same time you're posting to everywhere else.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh?
It's a great feature. I wish that it was consistent across groups and pages and everything else. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you for being my guest tonight. This has been a ton of fun.
It was nice chatting with you tonight, Haley. Thanks for
having me. Thank you for coming on and being with me tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great night. I hope everybody has a great night, and I hope you take care.
Good night, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.